and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. As we mentioned, again, Veterans Day, and with remarks, first to the podium, our Secretary of West Virginia Veterans Affairs, Mrs. Edward Diaz.
Good morning, everyone. Governor Justice, Senator Manchin, Senator Capito, Congressman Miller, distinguished guests. I'm both honored and humbled to have been asked to speak at the opening of this magnificent stretch of highway. This highway is so very important to the economic development of our state. As we are the most patriotic state in the Union, it is appropriate that such an important event be held on Veterans Day. The signing of the armistice of November 11th, 1918 went into effect at 11 a.m. 103 years ago today. This brought an end to the World War I, the Great War that was thought to be the war to end all wars. For many years, this day was remembered as Armistice Day. It soon would become clear that World War I would not be the last war our country would be called upon to fight. Freedom and democracy would once again be threatened in Europe 2 decades later, and afterward on the Korean Peninsula. As a result, Armistice Day would become what we now know as Veterans Day in 1954. Throughout our nation's history, our military has defended freedom and liberty, participated in wars and countless conflicts across the globe. Every time our nation has been called upon, our military, our veterans, they have answered. West Virginia is the most patriotic state in the nation. West Virginians have always been there when our country is called. Roughly 1 in 10 adults in our state is a veteran. This is much higher than the national average. Myself and more than 144,000 of my brother and sister veterans call this state our home. Among our proud veterans, 10,000 are women. 75% of our veterans are over the age of 50. Approximately 4% are World War II veterans. 10% are Korean War veterans. 35% are Vietnam War veterans. And 30% are Gulf War veterans. For their service and sacrifice throughout the years, we owe our veterans and their families our unwavering respect and our gratitude. On the 11th month, on the 11th day, on the 11th hour, we honor our veterans. We set aside this day to thank our veterans for their service and to honor their examples. We appreciate our veterans and the state of West Virginia. The Department of Veterans Assistance looks forward to continuing to serve them every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Our next speaker, United States Congresswoman Carol Miller.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Ted. And I want to thank the Winfield High School Show Choir and the Point Pleasant High School and the Winfield High School bands. You all are phenomenal. Randall, wherever you are, you did a good job getting everybody here to entertain us. Thank you so much. It's so great to be here with all of y'all here to celebrate this wonderful occasion today. I met my veteran when he was a senior at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, my West Virginian. I married him when he was a first lieutenant in the 101st, and I got to live among and with those people coming home from Vietnam and all of you who have served our country. I cannot thank you enough. Ironically, my grandmother's birthday is Veterans Day, so I always remember Veterans Day with special heart. I want to thank Jimmy Wriston and Randy Dameron for putting this on today. It's a wonderful day, and you arranged the weather very well. I also want to bring Chris Farley up here. Where's Chris? Are you in the way back? Okay, well, I was going to surprise Chris. Is that better? Cliff. So I was looking up and not thinking. There we go. I want to thank him as the project manager on this entire project from start to finish. I'm surprising you a little bit. I can't think of a better occasion. You're going to retire, I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I want to present you for a job well done, a flag that was flown over the United States Capitol in your honor, and thank you for your years of service to our state, to our roads, and best wishes to you as you move forward.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Most importantly, also, I want to thank our great governor, Jim Justice, for making this US 35 completion possible. With his $2.8 billion Roads to Prosperity bond, he got it done. He worked hard to get it done, and I'm so proud that he had the vision to push through. I want to thank, of course, our two senators who have been involved with this for quite a long time. I spent 12 years in the State House, and while I served on infrastructure, it was more of a watching as we went. It's such an honor to be able to see this road that is so well traveled become safer, better to drive. You all who live here and among us, you know the accidents that we've had for many, many years, and I think this is going to cut those way, way down, and I'm just so excited. And I'm happy to be part of this leadership team sitting over there who made this happen. It exemplifies how West Virginians work together to get things done. I just want to thank you all for having me here today. And next, I get to introduce my friend, Shelly Moore Capito, our senator.
Well, I've seen many people here, many faces, as we've been on this journey of Route 35. And the first comment we have to each other is, did we ever think we'd get to this day? And here we are. What a great day. I want to thank the Generals and the Black Knights for their wonderful patriotic music. It reminds us of our solemn day today, of Veterans Day, to thank our veterans. Many of you know and remember my father, who was a World War II veteran, who was wounded on the battlefield in Germany in 1944. I always think about him on a day like this, and I think about the future generations of the veterans that will be serving in the future. So thank you, Ted, for your great message on behalf of the veterans of the state of West Virginia. I want to thank you, Randy, for having us here. To say I'm elated is a total understatement. I cannot tell you how many, and I see people, how many flyovers, drive-bys, drive-in and outs, how many hopes and dreams we've thought, is this actually really going to happen? But it wasn't lost on me as we were driving over here from Charleston, how many trucks either tried to pass me or passed me, to realize that this is all about Governor keeping West Virginians safe. That's what a completion of this highway will be all about. So after 2 decades of a lot of work, I want to thank you, Governor Justice, and your Transportation Secretary, Jimmy Wriston, for the hard work, for the dedication. Obviously, Roads for Prosperity is working, and we see it here today, and we're extremely grateful. So thank you, Governor, for this. I also want to thank, I saw Cliff earlier today, who Carol just so well honored, and I said to him, I said, well, you and I have been on this project the same amount of time, 20 years, right? And he goes, I actually started in 1994 with the bridge over, and then the 3 miles into Mason County. So that's kind of where I picked it up as a congressman. And we had those great things called earmarks back then, where I was able to, working with all of you, to make sure that the one earmark that I would get every year for transportation was always dedicated to Route 35. And part of the reason of that is the late Charles Lanham and the late Jack Fruth. I cannot tell you how many times, how many ways, how many different approaches and meetings that I had, particularly with Charles, to talk about what this would mean to the folks, not just of Mason County, but Putnam County as well. And their families are here today. Eddie is here from the Lanham family, and Lynn is here from the Fruth family. So if you guys would stand up so we can give you a round of applause. I know they're up there watching, and they are really pumped. So I'd also like to thank both the commissions, and in particular Rick Handley and the Mason County Commission, because he's been right there with me all along, and all of us, to make sure that we get this complete today. So I know we have a lot of speakers. We have a lot of joy. This is going to be great. I can't wait to drive over this last part of the highway, the 14 miles that are opening today. It'll be very exciting. It's exciting to think about the safety. It's exciting to think about the ease of transportation. Thank you. The ease of cargo, the ease of moving safely. The men and women, not just of West Virginia, but everybody coming from the Midwest down into the Southeast. This is a major, major thoroughfare. And so I'm very excited. Briefly, that we did just passed a bipartisan infrastructure package that will have days like today be more and more. Will be completions of bridges, modernizations of our bridges, new highways, broadband, all kinds of things that I think is much needed, not only in this state, but throughout the country. So, Governor, again, thank you for letting me be a part of a wonderful day. There's a lot of people smiling today, and I sure am one of them. Thanks a lot.
Next to the podium, United States Senator Joe Manchin.
Again, congratulations to all of those who have been so involved in making this day happen, and there are so many to talk about. It's good to be here with the governor. It's good to be here with Senator Capito, Congresswoman Miller, and all the elected officials who've worked so diligently on this project. You start talking about the history. You know, Route 35, basically it was in 1935 when it basically became something that we were going to do as a country. It was not until 1965 with the Appalachian corridors and all that that it started developing that something should be done in order to connect this. Then it happened, I think, in 1994-95, the bridges was talked about, and I think by 1997 we had 2 or 3 miles of a 4-lane highway, and that's what kind of stagnated for quite some time. When I was elected governor and we started working, and Democrats and Republicans working together and looking at what needed to be done, Shelly mentioned so accurately that Jack Fruth, he was a force to be reckoned with, and his daughter is no less of one. And but Jack was something. He was relentless. Charlie Lanham, okay, John Musgrave, they called us, and we had meetings after meetings after meetings. I became elected in 2004, and as the governor knows, they'll bring you a 5-year program, what you should do, and I kept getting all these roads. It was going to be 5 years or 6 years of basically federal funding that Shelly was working on, and we were looking at how we would dedicate that and commit ourselves to that and prioritize it. For some reason, Route 35 was not on that. It wasn't coming up as one of the highest priorities. So we started looking at the most dangerous highways we had, the most accidents, the most people's lives at risk. Route 35 was always on the top, always one of the top. So we moved that up at that time, and during that period of time that our administration working with, again, bipartisanship, because I can tell you, a pothole doesn't have a Democrat or Republican's name on it. It'll bust your tire, Tom, every time. Doesn't really care. And that's what we have to start doing and looking at what's best for the people of our state and our country. We started working, we had all but 15 miles completed, if you recall. All but 15 miles were completed by 2010. This was a tough one. And we worked and worked and worked and worked and committed ourselves to getting this done. And the governor making that commitment, it'd take all of us working together to put the commitment to making this a final product. And this was a very dangerous, we know we had a lot of accidents here. It's going to save a lot of people's lives. and I'm so grateful for that. When you start looking at the piece of legislation we just passed, I think it's the most monumental thing that we've done since I've been there 11 years. Shelly has been in Congress longer than I have been as far as a congresswoman and now a senator, and seeing that basically bringing a fruition of a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Bipartisan. 69 of us in the Senate worked together. Democrats and Republicans putting our politics aside. And when you think about the mammoth opportunities we're going to have, Governor, there's $6 billion coming to West Virginia. $6 billion of goods over the next 8 to 10 years. Let me run down just a few of the things that was going to happen. When you think about, we have 1,545 bridges and more than 3,200 miles of highway that are in poor condition, and 32% of our trains and other public transit vehicles in the state are past their useful life. At least 258,000 West Virginians have no broadband, no connectivity. That's going to change. More than 400 public water systems, having 1.5 million West Virginians, requiring nearly $2 billion in repairs, with 293 public wastewater systems serving more than 440,000 residents, require at least another $12 billion in upgrades and extensions. The infrastructure package includes funding for broadband, roads, bridges, clean energy, technologies. It is unbelievable what we're going to be able to do working together. And I thank everybody in Congress, everybody that supported and worked on this vital piece of legislation. And now it's going to take all of us to get it across the finish line. But on Veterans Day today, we thank all of you who have served, all of the families that have lost loved ones. I don't know of another part of my life that I can look at in public service and not thank a person who puts a uniform on that's willing to take a bullet for me, that's willing to basically put themselves in harm's way to protect me and my family and all my loved ones. I can't say thank you enough, and taking one day is not adequate to say thank you for the job you do for this great country. And we're still the best country on earth. The United States of America is still the place to be, and it's the place everybody wants to be. And it's up to all of the youth right now for us to pass on something that this tradition continues on. You never forget the liberties and the freedoms that we enjoy, but the sacrifices that were made for what we have today. So I say thank you. God bless each and every one of you and all of those who've had a part of this great day today to say welcome, thank you, God bless each and every one of you.
Next to the podium with the Federal Highways Administration, he's the Director of Engineering and Operations, Mr. Ed Compton.
Thank you, everybody. On behalf of the United States Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak on this glorious day for the US 35 ribbon cutting. My boss, Jeff Blanton, our division administrator, was scheduled to be here today, but unfortunately, due to a family illness, he asked me if I could do it. So first, I need to tell a quick story. As I told you, I found out last night that I would be speaking here today, somewhat unexpectedly. So I was telling my 19-year-old son, who's a freshman at Marshall University, go Herd, that I was going to be sharing the stage today with some very important people. I mentioned that, Secretary Wriston would be here, who he knows, Secretary's son who taught him in high school, one of his favorite teachers, by the way, Secretary. Senators Manchin and Capito would be here. I said a bunch of other people that you'd recognize from television, thinking, he thinks his old man may be important. I said, even the governor will be there. He said, the governor? I said, yeah, the governor will be there. He looked at me and said, Dad, I got a question. I said, what, son? Thinking, he was very proud of the old man. He goes, do you get to meet Baby Dog? See, that's the reaction I got at home, too. I was thinking that he'd be proud of me, but he only wanted to know if I got to meet the celebrity Baby Dog. So anyway, that goes to show you who's really a big deal around here, or at least at my house. Seriously, the Federal Highway Administration would like to thank Secretary Wriston for the opportunity to join in the celebration today. I went back and looked at some old files, and yes, I'm as old as Cliff, apparently, because I began in probably 1990, 92, working on this project. So did our entire team at the Federal Highway Administration. So, getting a chance to represent those people in our agency today is quite an honor. You know, what began as a dream, and that Senator Capito mentioned this, what came as a dream of the folks here in Mason and Putnam counties was a line on a piece of paper in 1992, 93 when we started on this, and today it's a safe, modern 4-lane highway. Anyway, you didn't come to hear me speak, so in closing, I'd like to thank the men and women who behind the scenes did all the work, starting with the planners who planned this route, the environmental staff, both from the highway department and from the consulting firms who worked tirelessly to get what was a very complex environmental document done. The right-of-way agents who went out here and negotiated with all the property owners, which is sometimes not a pleasant task. The engineers, and I saw some of you guys here today, both from the highway department and from the consulting firms who did all the work. And most importantly, I think, to the construction people who for the last 30 years have worked so tirelessly on this, the men and women who the last 2 years worked every day through a worldwide pandemic. They didn't have a chance to work from home. They were out here every day working, doing the hard work. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity to speak here today, and I appreciate it.
Next to the podium, this marks his first event after being named Secretary to the Department of Transportation. This is Secretary Jimmy Wriston.
Thank you. Welcome to everyone. What a great day. Randy, you really outdid yourself with ordering the weather here today. This is amazing. Route 35 has a long history. That history mirrors the value of the men and women that we're honoring here today that made the sacrifices for our freedoms, for our abilities to get out here and to do our jobs and to produce this infrastructure for the citizens of the state. This is not just a great day for Putnam County and for Mason County. This is a great day for all of West Virginia. This road at one time was over on the other side of the river. It was the gateway to the south. It started off as a highway of great potential, and then it was born from a great tragedy. And here we are today. I'll take a moment just to tell you today we're opening the southbound lanes only. It's going to take us a couple of days to move the barricades from the northbound lane and get that open, but that'll just be a few more days. But the road is open today. The gateway to the south has reopened today. This will be a safe, modern highway. It'll protect lives. It'll take all that different types of traffic and separate it. But it's been a long time in the making. This literally started in 1926 when the federal government started the numbering system for the highway system. So we're very proud to have worked on this. I want to congratulate every contractor, every engineer, every politician, every public servant that diligently worked to get us to this day today. And the story of this project is so profound. One of my chief engineers gave a presentation at the Fall Forum that we have annually with our consulting partners, and he outlined the story of Route 35. And it was so profound as I sat there and listened to it. I thought, I hired over 50 graduate engineers just last May, and I thought that was so profound that I needed those young people to hear this. They need to understand what it means to be a public servant, to be a professional in the transportation industry. I'm going to be very brief here now, and I'm going to do what I came out here to do. But first I will tell you that I've learned a lot of lessons from the person I'm about to introduce just by listening. One of the most profound things, my favorite saying that he says, is that you have to know the difference between effort and achievement. Today is a great achievement. 53 years in the making. 9 governors presided over this project. The governor's great vision, the Roads to Prosperity program, got it done. Today, we have an achievement. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the 36th governor of the state of West Virginia, Governor Jim Justice.
I'm going to sit with you and talk to you just 1 second. First of all, a special thanks to Senator Manchin, Senator Capito, Congresswoman Miller, all those that are here that are in the Senate, past and present, all those that are here that are in the House. So many different people have put in a lot of licks over the years. But the first thing I'm going to turn to is the fact that it's Veterans Day. Veterans Day. Just think about it. So often you do it and you're guilty and I am too. All of you are guilty and I am too. These people have given us everything we have, every single thing we have. And oftentimes we just take it for granted. And oftentimes we just walk by and never mention, never stop to say thanks, whatever. We shouldn't do that. We should not do that. They have given so much, it's unbelievable. And they always ask so little. Have you ever just thought about how little they ask? I think about my dad. I asked my dad over and over and over. I said, Dad, what did you do in the military? What did you do? Never said a word. Never would say a word. Absolutely, it is a day that God above has given us. The beauty is unbelievable in this incredible state. But first and foremost, we should absolutely salute and absolutely be so appreciative of the fact that it's Veterans Day. Now, I would ask you please to do that. And with all that, I would say just these words next. I would say for all of you, I hate like crazy that I didn't bring Baby Dog today. Especially to all you guys. Let me tell you this. I was at an elementary school in the northern part of the state, elementary and middle school, and I had her with me. And she's sitting in the chair right beside me. And the little kids are all around me and everything. And I said, would it be that maybe, just maybe, are you more excited to see the governor or Baby Dog? And they all screamed at the same time, Baby Dog! Now, let me tell you just this. We've got the Pruitt family, we've got the Lanham family, and we got another fellow right here. His name is Scott Burdett. Scott was on, I think, the first planning committee ever to start this project. Please, all three of y'all stand, and especially you stand, Scott. And please give them a monstrous round of applause. I've got to tell you this story real quick. Years ago, I was at Marshall University. Nobody loved to bird hunt more than me. Nobody. I hunted the Ziegler Farm for quail. I hunted the Stiles Farm right back here at Pliny and everything for grouse. Nobody chased quail and grouse, but especially grouse, more than I. And I have throughout all my life. And I still do it to even today. It's not very pretty, but I still try to do it even today. Now, with all that, I had brown hair and was really skinny. I know that's hard to believe too. But with that, I would come and I would drive 35 all the time. And I wondered, good gosh, this place is dangerous. And this place, really, if there's ever a place that needed a road, it was this. Now think about it. Think about how long that's been. Think about just how long that could be. We need to change that dynamic in West Virginia every single day. I had brown hair and I was skinny. And we started this project, and here I happen to be today, anything but skinny and anything but brown hair, and I'm talking to you about the fact that today, that God has given us this incredible blessing. Today, finally, we have achieved and we have done exactly what my dad always said. Don't confuse effort with accomplishment. Today we have achieved. And so in all of that, I thank so many that put in all the licks. So many, whether they be all these great great politicians that we have here, all the great planners, all the great people of the past, all of you that have pulled the rope, I thank you. You know, Jimmy Wriston heads up our Department of Transportation today. Absolutely, Bird White is here, who just absolutely gave up that position just not long ago. Cliff is here. So many folks have put in all the licks to make this become a reality. I thank our senators today, and I thank our legislators, because they had the vision also. When I brought the Roads to Prosperity vision to them, and let me just tell you this, I don't take credit for anything like this. Really, at the end of the day, you know where that came to me from? I was in the shower at the house, and all of a sudden it just hit me, you know, first of all, you're the governor. You're about to give the State of the State address for the first time. And what are you going to do? You've seen the books, and it's tragic. It's not bad. It's worse than bad. You don't have anywhere to turn. You need instant jobs, and nowhere to turn. A bankrupt state beyond all comprehension and nowhere to turn. What are you going to do? And then it just hit me, you know, and just think about this concept. If you let every road job that we had on the books today, every single one of them today, how many jobs would that create? And then you started thinking it would be thousands. And what would it cost if every breathing West Virginian had to write a check? What would it cost to do that? And it was like $225 for every breathing West Virginians to let every road job on the books today and create that instant job. And that's where it all started. I'm not smart enough to have come up with that. I really believe with all my soul that God above gives me the good ideas. I'll take credit for the bad ones. But with all of that, here we go. So I thank everybody, everybody that put in the licks to make all this goodness happen. And today, we are achieving. So God bless each and every one of you. Let's do it. Thank y'all. Lynn, Eddie, and Scott, can y'all come up here and join us? Scott Burdett. That's my intercom system. Yeah. Okay. We'll do this one.
On three.
Wait, we got one more.
One more coming.
Scott's coming. Come on, Scott.
This is an exciting day. Yes, it is. This is for all those people.
We need one more.
Scott, you're
He can do it right here with me.
Get right under. Come on.
Yeah, Scott, come right in here and help, and you and I'll do it together. Okay? Okay. You hold on to that now. Hold on to this side. On the bottom. We're going to do it together.
3, 2, 1, 0.